Hello there, my name is Nathan Birch. In this video, we're going to go ahead and complete this assignment 4 for our Web Essentials course. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's go ahead and start by creating a new repository. So I'm going to go to github.com, and in here I'll just say awesome project. It's available. I'll leave it public, create repository. And then I'm just going to copy this link right here. And then let's see what's next. Open VS Code. On the welcome page, select clone git repository. I'll click right there, paste, clone from URL. And now I'm just going to pick a folder on my computer to connect this to. I'll go ahead and just create a new folder right here. I'll call it awesome project. And I'll hit select repository location. I'll hit open so that it just automatically opens it up here in VS Code. And now we're good to go. Okay, we have our project that's all connected. So let's start doing this. Create the following HTML files: index, account, about, contact, partial, nav. So let's come over here. I'm going to go ahead and create some of these new files. I'll say index.html. And I guess before I create all these, I'm just going to go ahead and just copy this one a few times. It also said that we're going to have a JavaScript file called script and a CSS file called style CSS. So let me go ahead and create those real quick before I do my other HTML files. So style.css and script.js. And then inside my index.html file, I'm just going to go ahead and reference those right now. So I'll say script source. We'll leave this as script.js for now. We will change that in a bit. And then link CSS, style CSS. So that's good. I'll go ahead and put that below there. And this looks like a pretty good template. So I'm just going to copy this file a few times. So I'll just take copy and 1, 2, 3, 4, paste it a few times. So right here, we said we're going to have an about page, and we're going to have a contact page, and let's see, an account page. I'm trying to remember. Oh, whoops. There we go. Let's see. So we have about, contact, and index. Oh, and account. So index, account, about, contact. Last one we need is partial nav. So right here, I'll just right click and say partial nav. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. Let's see what else we have to do. Add some NPM packages to make this project awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to copy this. That'll install all 4 of these packages. In here, I'm just going to click on terminal and open new terminal. And we'll just say npm init, which will allow us to, this will basically just create a package JSON. I'll just go through all the defaults here. And you can see my package.json was created with all those default settings that I accepted. With that, now I can go ahead and paste that npm install, and it'll go ahead and run this, install all 4 of these packages, and update my package JSON to include those packages. Okay, and these are the ones that we're going to use for our main activity today for our assignment. So I can close this for now. Let's look at what else we have to do. Let's provide a place to require all these. So create a file called script.js. Good. jQuery, you're going to use jQuery to put the navbar on each page. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this and put it into script.js. Okay, so require jQuery, that's coming from the npm install that we just did. And then each page is going to need an ID with nav menu. So let's go ahead and copy this, and we'll put this into the HTML of each page. So I'll just start here at the top. We'll put it just right at the top of the body of each one of these. And index. Okay. There is a hotkey to hit save all. Mine is Command-Shift-S. So I'll go ahead and just hit save all. Next up, Browserify CSS. Run the following command to package all JS files into the Browserify bundle. Okay, so I'm going to come over here in my terminal. I'll hit paste. And this will basically grab all the JavaScript files that I need and CSS files from node modules and my script.js, and it'll just like connect them all together. So actually, instead of referencing this script.js, I'm actually going to reference bundle.js. So I'm just going to copy this because I have it in like 5 files, I think, now. And I'm just going to hit find. We'll find that, and we'll replace it with bundle. I'll go ahead and hit replace. Yes, please. And it should fix that up nicely for us across the board. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Bootstrap. Let's actually see if this is working first. So I'm going to right click on this. We're not really going to see much when we do this. Open with live server. And here we go. Nice empty file. Let's see if we have any loud errors showing up in the console. And it doesn't look like we do. Okay, so we're off to a great start. Okay, let's come back over to here. Add the following code to script.js. So now we've implemented jQuery. Let's go ahead and incorporate Bootstrap. Okay, so inside of script.js, generally we'll put all of our injections up at the top. Okay, so right here I'll just put a comment, load Navbar, and over here we'll just say reference dependencies. Okay, so we'll save that. Now with that here, we can actually use the Bootstrap JavaScript and the Bootstrap CSS. Before we do, I want to just look at package.json just to see what version I'm using. And I'm using version 5 here. So I'm going to go to, let's go to the Bootstrap website right here. That's not the Bootstrap website. So I'll say Bootstrap 5. Introduction, get Bootstrap. So this is great. This is exactly where I want to be. It shows some other ways that you can do it, but we already have Bootstrap in our project, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, let's see what we're doing next. Okay, with that there, you can now start adding Bootstrap components. In partial nav, retrieve a Bootstrap navbar that you'd like. Copy and paste it into your HTML file. Okay, so let's come into here. I'll just look through here. Let's see if it's in components. Navbar, right there. Okay, and I could search for it here. I could search for it on Google. I usually use Google. But since I was here, we can go ahead and use that as well. I'll go ahead. Let's see, I'm not really going to have a search bar in my website, but I do want an navbar with buttons to navigate to my different files. Ooh, this looks great. Okay, so I'll just copy that. And I'll go to partialnav.html. And then in here, I'm actually going to take all this out because this is a partial file. So I'm actually going to use it inside of other HTML files. So I don't need like the doc type HTML or the head or the body because we'll already have that. Okay, so I'm just going to save that. And let's come over here. Let's see if this is updating at all. Okay, so that is showing up in index.html, so that's good. But we don't have any of the JavaScript or CSS work in there. Let's go ahead and try doing this browserify script jointing thing again. Let's see if that fixes it. And it totally did. We have this nice nav bar. This looks awesome. Okay. Let's just test this. If I go to the About page, you can see it's still there. So that's great. So the nav bar is currently working, being injected using jQuery. Now let's just go ahead and modify our nav bar. So home, we'll go to index.html. And then we'll have an about.html. And we'll change that link to say about. And then we'll have an account.html. And we'll change that to say account. I'll go ahead and copy this line of code one more time for a contact page. And contact. Okay. And then I don't need this disabled one there. I'll go ahead and delete that, save it. And now I should actually be able to navigate to these different pages. Only one of them is showing as active right now. That's a stretch challenge. I'll probably go over that in a different video. But it looks like we are navigating to these different pages, and that's looking great so far. Okay, let's go to our next step here in our program. Okay, in the home page, put a Bootstrap carousel there with several images. Okay, so I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to find our carousel. I just want to find one that looks cool. So that one looks kind of nice. Okay, let's see what else they have. Ooh, with indicators. let's do that. So I'm going to copy this one. And what page does that say to do that on? The home page. Okay, so I'm going to go to index.html. We have our menu showing up right there, and I'll just add our Bootstrap carousel right here. Okay. We want to change these sources. So let me go ahead. I'm going to pause the video for a second. I'm just going to grab a couple links off of Google and put those in here. All right, so I just grabbed a couple of images. I do want to modify the style in here a little bit, so I'm just going to paste these styles. So this will basically just change the height of my carousel to just be 300 pixels. Okay, because the images I did grab are pretty big, but they are different sizes also. So I'm going to make that be 300 pixels. And let's go ahead and see what this looks like. So I'm going to refresh. Well, that didn't work. Well, the carousel worked. My CSS didn't work. Let's see if that made a change. Nope. Well, that's okay. At least the carousel's working. And I can click on those as well, so that's cool. Let me actually make sure that I'm referencing our CSS file. Yeah, style CSS. What if I just said style height 200 pixels? No luck. Yeah. Well, we can worry about that later. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to our next step. Oh, look what that did. So it did change the carousel height, just not the image height. Okay, so for this image, we would have to go ahead and add onto the image there. So I wonder if it actually did do that. So let me come over into our styles. Image, min height, we'll say height is also 300 pixels. We'll save that. And still nothing. Okay, what if I said, I'll go over to index. So for all images, height, I'll say 300 pixels, important. I'll save that. Okay, there we go. We do have some work to do on that, right? That's pretty ugly. But that's okay. We'll go ahead and leave it. We'll have some nice fake panoramic pictures. We can fix the CSS another time. Okay, let's keep on going. So we got the carousel on there. In the About Us page, put a Bootstrap accordion there with at least 3 sections. So let's come over here. Let's find an accordion. And I'm just going to copy this first example. And what page is that on? The About Us page. So I'll go over to About. Currently nothing there. And I'll just put that right there. Leave it. And let's check our About page. Boom. That looks awesome. Okay. I know I didn't really show you guys this yet, but I am going to put this all into a div. And we'll give it a Bootstrap class of container. Okay, this will just give us a little bit of spacing on the sides, which will be really nice. Okay, there, that's what that looks like. Okay, we'll go ahead and just leave that the way it is. Let's look at our next one. Contact page, include a Bootstrap form to let people contact you. So I'm going to click on forms. Email address and password, that looks good. I wonder if there's like a... Nope, that's fine. So we'll use this. We will change it a little bit just so it looks like a form to like contact us with. Let's go to the contact page and we'll go ahead and just paste that in here. For the email address, that's good. And then right here we'll say email body. Okay. And then instead of an input, we'll do text area. And text area also needs a closing tag, unlike input. It's not a type password. We'll just say, actually, I don't even think we need a type there. And then right here we'll say example. Well, we'll just say email body for the ID. We're not going to use that ID right now. Let's see what that looks like. Come over here. I'll click on contact. Okay, so that looks a little bit better, right? We have an email address that we can type in here, email body, a submit. We can put that into a container too. It'd be a nice, easy way to say, just to give it a little bit of spacing on the side there. It's not all the way up against the wall. Okay, we'll save that. And that's what it looks like. So that looks pretty good for our email address at gmail.com. Oops. Gmail.com. And here's a body. And we can just keep on going and going and going. Looks awesome. Okay. In the contact page, include a bootstrap form. Oh, we did that. In the account page, include a bootstrap table. Okay, so let's see, where's the table? Tooltips and toasts. Let's search for table. So that's in form. Okay, so I'm just going to Google bootstrap table. Get bootstrap. I want to make sure that I have the right version here. Otherwise, it might not work the way that we want it to. We'll go ahead and just copy this first one. And then in the account page, we'll go ahead and put that table in there. Actually, before I do that, let's put a div with a class of container in there, because we know that we're going to do that anyways. And then we'll paste our table. And let's see what our table looks like. Oops. Account. Boom. That looks awesome. Okay. So we have our about page with the accordion, account with the table, contact with a form to contact us, and then our home page with a beautiful stretched out fake panoramic picture. Sweet. So that's pretty awesome. Some good Bootstrap experience there. Next up, Particles.js. Put the following line of code into your partialnav.html. So this is basically going to give us a place to display our particles, which is going to be really cool. I'm excited to show you guys. So just right up at the top here, right above nav, I'll just add this. Okay. In script.js, let's put this at the top of the file. So go to script.js. It is a dependency right here, so I'll just put it underneath that comment. Add the following to your CSS. Styles, we'll add this to the top two. And save that. And then add the following to your script.js to start particles. So go to script.js. We'll say generate particles. Okay, so these are just some settings for what it's going to do, and then this is actually going to kick that off. Okay, and again, this is being imported from our node modules from our npm install of Particles.js that we did earlier. Okay, this will require a reload with our browserify. So let's go ahead and rerun that, and let's look at what we have here. I'm not seeing any particles. I see a black background, so our CSS is there. Let's right click here and let's see what our error is. So can't read property get context of null. So what's happening here is it's trying to put something on the page in a place, basically like in a box that's not there yet. So right here we said, hey, let's go ahead and run this, but it's not there. So let's go ahead and do this. We can just say window.onload equals function. And then in that function, we'll go ahead and call that. But still, this might not work sometimes because jQuery is going to load up our canvas background that we put in there into partial nav. And so it could still take longer for this to actually be available for JavaScript to put something into. So for now, this isn't best practice, but for now, we're just going to put a set timeout function in here. And this will basically say, hey, don't do anything until a certain amount of time has passed. And we'll go ahead and just say half a second. That's 500 milliseconds. So we'll basically force it to wait another half a second. Okay. Now I just modified my JavaScript, so I got to re-browserify all of our JavaScript. And let's go back to our project. Look at that. That's pretty cool, right? We would have to, you'll notice that our particles are kind of getting in the way of our accordion. That's interesting. Not these ones, just inside of there. Okay, we could do some. We could do something. We could change something called the Z index to fix that. But right here, you can see our particle package is working beautifully. That looks awesome. I could click on my home page and see our particles are working there. Our accordion's still working great. Click on About. That's where we just were. Account and Contact. Okay, and so again, we'd want to change up a couple of things, just to clean it up a bit. Obviously, we might want to put like our form and our table into a div that has like a white background or something. But then this could look really nice, right? And we're using all these different packages and all these really cool things to make this work. So let's go ahead and look over here. We got some stretch challenges. I'll go ahead and address those in the next video, but I hope that this was helpful for you guys.